Listen to me, life is short. And you don't need me to tell you that. You've already seen it. One minute you're a kid playing outside till the streetlights come on. The next minute you're grown, working, paying bills, and wonder where all that time went. And the truth is, you don't get those years back. You don't get to hit rewind. So if you're not enjoying your life every single day, you're wasting the one gift you can't afford to lose, time. Now, I know some of y'all say, but life is hard. I got responsibilities, I got stress. I got people depending on me, and that's true. But let me tell you something, life is always going to throw problems your way. You can't stop storms from coming, but you can decide whether you're going to stand there miserable in the rain or dance while it's falling. See, enjoying life isn't about everything being perfect. It's about finding joy in the middle of the mess. It's about laughing at your own mistakes, smiling at small victories, and being grateful for the little things. The sunshine, the breath in your lungs, the food on your table, the people who love you. If you can't enjoy that, you're chasing something that will never satisfy you. You ever notice how kids can find joy in the simplest things? Give a child a cardboard box and suddenly it's a spaceship. That's because they haven't forgotten what adults tend to forget. That happiness isn't about what you have, it's about how you see it. Somewhere along the way, we traded our joy for stress, our laughter for worry, and our peace for pressure. And I'll tell you, this life is not promised. Somebody went to sleep last night and didn't wake up this morning. Somebody had plans for tomorrow that they'll never get to live. That means every day you open your eyes, every single day you get another shot. It's a blessing. You don't have to wait for Friday or payday or vacation to enjoy your life. You don't need a fancy car, a big house, or approval from people who don't even care about you. You can choose joy right where you are. So wake up with gratitude, laugh more, hug your loved ones, chase your dreams, but don't miss the beauty on the journey. Don't hold back your smile because of what you don't have. Share it because of what you do have. Because the real secret, if you enjoy life every single day, life will start enjoying you back. Gratitude changes everything. And the reason people miss out on so much joy is because they spend all their energy looking at what they don't have instead of celebrating what they already do. When you wake up in the morning and the first thought in your mind is about your problems, your bills, or the people who let you down, you set yourself up for a day of negativity before the day even has a chance to bless you. But when you flip that around and wake up saying, "Thank you, God, I got another day. Thank you that I can see, I can walk, I can breathe." Suddenly your whole outlook shifts. Gratitude is like flipping a light switch in a dark room. The room didn't change. The furniture is still the same, but now you can see it differently. That's what happens when you start being thankful for the small things. Some people think gratitude means you've got to have something huge to celebrate. They think they'll be grateful once they get the promotion, once they move into the new house, once they buy the car they've been dreaming about. But that's not gratitude. That's postponing your joy. Gratitude is when you appreciate that your old car still gets you to work, that you've got food on the table, that even though your apartment may be small, it's a place you can call home. It's understanding that the blessing doesn't have to be big to be valuable. If you wait on the big things before you say thank you, you're going to spend most of your life in misery. But if you learn to thank God for the little things, you'll find yourself smiling more, laughing more, and stressing less. The reason gratitude changes everything is because it changes you. You can't control what's going on around you most of the time, but you can control your perspective. A grateful person and an ungrateful person can be standing in the same situation and they will live two completely different lives. One person will see lack, the other will see abundance. One will see obstacles, the other will see opportunities. Gratitude doesn't erase your problems, but it makes them lighter. It gives you the strength to push through because you're not just focused on what's wrong, you're also acknowledging what's right. Think about how many times in your past you thought you weren't going to make it. Think about those moments when you felt like life was crushing you. And yet, here you are, still standing. You survived heartbreak, you survived disappointments, you survived storms that you thought would destroy you. Gratitude reminds you of that. It reminds you that even though it wasn't easy, you made it. And if you made it through that, you can make it through this. Gratitude doesn't just give you peace for today, it gives you courage for tomorrow because you know deep down you've been carried before and you'll be carried again. There are people out there right now with less than you who are happier than you. And do you know why? Because they're grateful. They don't need the best shoes, the biggest house, or the fanciest vacation to smile. They're thankful for the sunrise, for the laughter of their kids, for the chance to sit down at the end of a long day and share a meal. Meanwhile, somebody else with everything money can buy is miserable because they haven't learned the power of gratitude. That's proof that happiness isn't about possessions, it's about perspective. The richest people are not always the ones with the most money, they're the ones with the most gratitude. If you ever feel like life is weighing you down, I challenge you to grab a notebook and write down 10 things you're grateful for. Don't overthink it, don't make it complicated. Write down simple things like, I woke up today, I have clean water, I have clothes to wear, I heard my favorite song on the radio, I talked to someone I love. By the time you get to 10, you'll notice your mood shift, your shoulders lighten, and your spirit lift. That's not an accident, that's the power of gratitude working on your heart. It's impossible to stay bitter and thankful at the same time. One will push the other out, and gratitude is strong enough to push bitterness away. If you let it, gratitude also makes you treat people differently. When you're thankful, you stop taking folks for granted. You notice the small things they do for you, and you show appreciation. That kind of spirit builds stronger relationships because people feel valued around you. Gratitude creates a cycle. When you show it, people give it back, and your whole environment shifts. You want to change your family atmosphere. Start with gratitude. You want to change your workplace vibe. Start with gratitude. You can't expect joy and kindness if all you bring is complaining and negativity. Gratitude attracts blessings, but complaining chases them away. Sometimes we think life owes us something, and that's why we struggle to be grateful. We walk around acting like if we didn't get what we wanted, then we got cheated. But life doesn't owe us anything. Every day is a gift. Every breath is a gift. Gratitude is how you say, I understand how precious this really is. Because one day the things you take for granted will be the things you miss the most. One day you'll look back and wish you had enjoyed those moments, said thank you more often, and lived lighter instead of carrying so much resentment. Gratitude is like fertilizer for your blessings. The more you show it, the more you attract. The more you complain, the more your blessings dry up. You have to make it a practice, not just a thought. Wake up and say it out loud. Before bed, whisper it again. Carry it with you during the day, because gratitude isn't just something you feel, it's something you live. And once you start living it, you'll see that it really does change everything. A joy is a choice, not a condition. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you stop waiting for life to line up perfectly before you allow yourself to be happy. Most people spend their whole lives putting happiness on layaway, saying things like, I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy when I lose this weight. I'll be happy when I finally get married. But what they don't understand is that happiness doesn't come wrapped up in achievements or possessions. It comes from a decision. You can choose to look at what's right, or you can choose to look at what's wrong, and whichever one you focus on will determine how much joy you feel. If joy depended on perfect circumstances, nobody would ever have it, because nobody's life is perfect. Think about it. Every single person you admire has problems you know nothing about. They might have money, but they're struggling with loneliness. They might have fame, but they're fighting battles in private. They might smile in public, but cry behind closed doors. If joy was tied to conditions, then those people would be the happiest in the world, but many of them aren't. Joy doesn't come from what you own. It comes from how you view what you own. Joy doesn't come from where you are. It comes from who you choose to be while you're there. That's why you can find people living in the toughest circumstances with very little to their name who radiate joy everywhere they go. And you can find people with everything who are miserable to be around. The difference isn't condition, it's choice. Every day you wake up, you get two options: complain or rejoice. And whichever one you pick is going to shape your whole day. You can wake up and say, I hate this job. I'm tired. I don't have enough money. I don't like the way things are going. And guess what? That's exactly how your day will play out. Or you can wake up and say, I'm glad I got a job to go to. I'm glad I'm alive to see another morning. I'm glad I've got enough to get through today. And suddenly, the same day feels lighter. Nothing outside changed, but something inside you did. That's the power of choice. You control how you respond, and that's where joy lives. Sometimes people confuse joy with excitement. Excitement is when something good happens. Joy is when you decide to be happy, even when nothing special is happening. Excitement depends on the moment. Joy depends on your mindset. If you're always waiting for something exciting to happen before you feel good, you're going to be miserable in the quiet seasons of your life. Joy is what carries you when things aren't flashy, when life is routine, when there isn't anything new to show off. Joy is the steady fire that keeps you warm, not just the spark that comes and goes. And when you choose joy, people around you feel it too. It becomes contagious. It lifts the room. It changes the energy in your family, your job, Your friendships choosing joy doesn't mean you ignore pain. It doesn't mean you walk around pretending life is perfect. It means you refuse to let pain have the final say. You acknowledge the storm, but you also choose to look for the rainbow. You don't deny the struggle, but you don't let the struggle steal every ounce of your peace. Life is too unpredictable to let your emotions depend on conditions. If you only smile when the sun is shining, you'll never make it through the rain. But when you choose joy, you say to yourself, the weather doesn't decide how I feel, my spirit does. That's strength, that's power, that's freedom. Think about the little things that can bring joy if you let them. A good cup of coffee in the morning, a song on the radio that takes you back, a child's laughter, a quiet walk, the way fresh air feels on your face. These are not grand, life-changing events, but if you pay attention, they can fill your heart with more joy than any big milestone. The problem is people are so busy waiting for the big thing, they overlook the small gifts happening every single day. You don't have to wait for joy. You just have to notice it and accept it. That's why joy is always available, because it's hidden in the ordinary. If you don't train your eyes to see it, you'll miss it. But if you learn to look, you'll find it everywhere. There will always be reasons to be upset. There will always be reasons to complain. Life doesn't take a break from throwing challenges your way. But you have to ask yourself, do I want to spend my whole life reacting to problems, or do I want to start living above them? Choosing joy doesn't erase your problems, but it lifts you so high that problems don't crush you anymore. They become smaller because your perspective becomes bigger. That's why some people collapse under pressure and others shine under the same weight. The ones who shine made the decision not to let the situation define them. Joy also gives you strength in ways that nothing else can. A joyful person can push through things that would break someone else. A joyful person can find energy when others are drained, can find hope when others are hopeless, can keep moving when others give up. That's why choosing joy is not weakness. It's one of the strongest choices you can make. It protects your spirit. It builds resilience. It reminds you that even though life isn't perfect, you still have power over how you live it. When you finally stop tying your happiness to conditions, you stop waiting for the world to hand you joy and you start creating it yourself. You realize that joy is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. At first, it may feel hard, especially if you've been living in negativity for a long time. But little by little, as you keep choosing it, it becomes your default. You don't even have to force it anymore. It just flows out of you naturally. And once you get there, nothing outside can control your inside because you already made your choice. Problems are permanent guests. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop waiting for a life without them. A lot of people think once they get more money, once they find the right relationship, once they move to a better city, once they finally reach success, then the problems will disappear. But that's not how life works. Problems don't pack up and leave just because your circumstances improve. They change shape, they change size, they might even change faces, but they're always there. Every stage of life comes with its own set of challenges, and if you don't learn how to deal with them, you'll spend your entire life frustrated and disappointed because you thought one day you'd wake up to a problem. Free world, think about when you were a kid. Back then, your biggest problem might have been homework or somebody at school teasing you. You thought once you grew up, those problems would be gone. And in a way, they were. But what replaced them? Bills, jobs, relationships, responsibilities. You solved one level of problems and graduated to the next. That's the rhythm of life. When you're single, you've got single problems. When you're married, you've got married problems. When you don't have kids, you have one set of problems. When you do have kids, you've got a whole new set. Success doesn't remove problems either. It just introduces you to bigger ones. You think being broke is stressful. Try being wealthy and having everyone pulling at you, trying to get a piece of what you work for. Problems are permanent guests, and they always come with the package of being alive. The real secret is not eliminating problems. It's learning how to live with them without letting them steal your peace. Most people waste their joy wishing problems away. They spend years saying things like, once this situation is over, then I'll be happy. Once I get out of debt, once I find love, once I get healthier, once I fix this mess, then life will be good. And what happens? By the time that problem gets solved, another one walks through the door. It's a cycle that never ends. If you wait for problems to disappear before you allow yourself to enjoy life, you'll never enjoy it at all. You have to decide that problems are part of the scenery, but they don't get to control the show. Some problems are like heavy storms that come and go. They hit hard, they shake your life, but eventually they pass. Other problems are like that annoying neighbor who never leaves, always showing up, always hanging around, testing your patience. But even then, you can decide how you deal with them. You can complain every day about the storm, or you can grab an umbrella and keep moving. You can let the neighbor ruin your mood, or you can learn to ignore the noise. Problems lose a lot of their power when you stop giving them so much attention. They feed on your stress. They grow when you focus on them. But when you start focusing on gratitude, on joy, on solutions instead of complaints, suddenly those same problems don't weigh you down as much. There's also something important about problems that most people overlook. They shape you. Every lesson you've ever learned in life, every ounce of wisdom you've gained, it didn't come from easy days. It came from struggle. It came from challenges. It came from facing something you didn't think you could handle and coming out stronger. Problems stretch you. They build endurance. They force you to grow. If life were problem-free, you would never develop strength, patience, or character. Diamonds are made under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. And people are strengthened by problems. You don't like them, but you need them. Without them, you wouldn't be who you are right now. Now, don't get it wrong. There are some problems we create ourselves by making poor choices, and those are the hardest to accept. But even then, the lesson is valuable. You might look back at mistakes you made and think, if only I had done things differently. But the truth is, those very mistakes, those self-made problems, they taught you lessons you couldn't have learned any other way. They gave you perspective. They humbled you. They taught you resilience. Some of the best growth in life comes from the worst decisions because you learn firsthand what not to do again. So even those problems had purpose. You can tell a lot about a person by how they deal with problems. Some people panic, complain, and give up at the first sign of difficulty. Others keep calm, think clearly, and find a way through. The difference isn't that one has fewer problems, it's that one learned how to handle them. When you start treating problems as permanent guests instead of unwanted intruders, you stop being surprised by them. You stop asking, why me? And you start saying, okay, this is part of life. Now, how do I get through it? That shift in mindset is powerful because instead of being a victim of your problems, you become the master of how you respond. Another thing about problems, they keep you humble. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to get prideful, to think you've got it all figured out. But let a problem show up and suddenly you realize how much you still need patience, how much you still need faith, how much you still need help from others. Problems remind you that you're human, that you can't control everything, that sometimes you have to lean on people, and sometimes you have to lean on God. And in that humility, you find strength you didn't know you had. The mistake a lot of people make is comparing their problems with other people's. You look at someone else's life and think they've got it so easy, I wish I had their problems instead of mine. But everybody is carrying something. You may not see it because most folks don't broadcast their struggles, but trust me, they're dealing with something too. Comparing only makes you bitter. The truth is, if you swap problems with someone else, you might find theirs are heavier than yours. That's why it's better to focus on managing your own instead of wishing them away. Problems are permanent guests. But peace can be permanent too if you learn how to carry yourself through them. The trick is not to let the presence of problems rob you of the presence of joy. You don't need a problem-free life to live a joyful life. You need a strong mind, a grateful heart, and the decision that no matter what shows up at your door, you're still going to live fully. Small things carry big happiness. And too often people miss out on joy because they're chasing something grand, thinking life has to give them fireworks every day to be worth celebrating. But the truth is, happiness is hidden in the details. It's in the little moments that most people overlook because they're too busy waiting on the next big thing. If you stop and pay attention, you'll see that the small things are what actually hold your life together and give it meaning. The sound of laughter around a dinner table, the way fresh sheets feel when you first climb into bed, the smell of coffee brewing in the morning, a call from someone just checking in, those things might not seem like much, but they're powerful enough to shift your whole mood if you let them. The problem is we live in a world that teaches us to measure happiness by milestones. You're told to wait until you graduate, wait until you get the job, wait until you get married, wait until you buy the house, wait until you retire. And while you're waiting on those big events, life is happening right in front of you. People think happiness is sitting out there at the finish line, but the truth is it's scattered all along the path. Every step, every simple joy, every ordinary blessing, it's there waiting to be noticed. If you keep your eyes fixed on the horizon, you'll miss the beauty at your feet. Think about children for a moment. You can give a child a cardboard box, and they'll turn it into a spaceship. You can give them a puddle of water and they'll splash and giggle for hours. They know how to find joy in small things because they haven't been taught yet to measure happiness by size. Somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we start believing joy has to be tied to possession, status, or success. But watch a child and you'll see the truth. Joy is about perspective, not possessions. It's about what you decide to celebrate. Even the things we complain about are blessings in disguise. You complain about traffic, but it means you've got somewhere to go. You complain about laundry, but it means you've got clothes to wear. You complain about the noise in your house, but it means your family is there alive and with you. If you shift your perspective just a little, you'll realize even the things that irritate you are actually small reminders of abundance. Gratitude for those little annoyances can turn frustration into peace because you start seeing them for what they really are: signs of life, signs of provision, signs that you are still in the game. Some of the happiest people in the world don't have much by society standards, but they've mastered the art of appreciating small joys. They find happiness in community, in sharing meals, in music, in the beauty of nature. Meanwhile, some of the wealthiest people surrounded by luxury are miserable because they've lost the ability to appreciate the simple. When you can't find happiness in the small, no amount of big will ever satisfy you. But when you can find happiness in the small, every day feels abundant no matter what's in your bank account. The truth is, most of the memories you'll cherish later in life will not come from the big milestones. They'll come from the small, ordinary moments, the late night conversations with friends, the inside jokes, the quiet mornings, the times you laughed until your stomach hurt. When people look back on their lives, they don't just remember the big events, they remember the moments in between. That's why it's so important not to overlook the small things. They don't just carry big happiness, they carry the memories that will sustain you when the big events have passed. The small things also give you perspective in the middle of hard times. When life feels heavy, when you're going through loss, heartbreak, or disappointment, it's the small things that often pull you through. A smile from a stranger, a song that lifts your spirit, a hot meal after a long day, the comfort of someone simply sitting beside you. Those may not solve your problems, but they remind you that there's still light, still goodness, still reasons to keep going. Sometimes you don't need a miracle. You just need to notice the little mercies scattered throughout your day. Another thing about small things is they compound. You might think a smile doesn't matter, a kind word doesn't matter, a short prayer doesn't matter, but when you add them up day after day, they build a life filled with peace and joy. Just like pennies add up to dollars, small joys add up to a meaningful life. If you neglect them, if you keep waiting for the grand, you'll end up empty because the grand is rare, but the small is constant. Choosing to see the small things is like building a savings account of happiness, and over time, it makes you rich in ways money can't touch. There's also power in slowing down enough to actually notice these moments. The world moves fast, and if you're always rushing, always distracted, you'll miss them. You'll scroll right past the smile of someone next to you. You'll overlook the beauty of a sunset. You'll ignore the peace of silence. Slowing down is how you train yourself to catch joy in the small things. And once you start noticing, you can't stop. It's like your eyes adjust, and suddenly you see happiness everywhere, hidden in plain sight. So many people live their whole lives chasing happiness like it's out there somewhere, when really it's been sitting right in front of them all along. It's in the laughter, in the hugs, in the meals, in the music, in the sunlight, in the quiet. It's not about size, it's about sight. The small things carry big happiness because they are the foundation of what it means to really live. Time is your most valuable gift. And the thing about time is once it's gone, you can never get it back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose a job and get another one. You can even lose opportunities and create new ones later. But time is the one resource you can't recycle. When a minute passes, when a day ends, when a year slips away, that's it. It's gone. And that's why learning to value your time, protect your time, and enjoy your time is one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn in life. Most people live like they've got forever, like the clock isn't ticking. They put off dreams. They delay happiness. They wait for the right moment that never comes. They say things like, I'll travel when I retire. I'll chase that goal when things calm down. I'll spend more time with my family when I get this next promotion. And while they're busy waiting, time is moving. The truth is, you don't have as much of it as you think. Tomorrow is not promised, next week is not guaranteed, and the people you love may not always be here. Every day you wake up is a day you'll never get back, and if you don't use it, you lose it. Time has a way of humbling you. When you're young, you think you've got all the time in the world. You think you can waste years on people who don't value you, waste energy on things that don't matter, waste days doing nothing with no direction. But as you get older, you start to realize how fast it all goes. You look back and wonder how childhood passed so quickly, how your 20s disappeared in a blink, how people you thought would be around forever are gone. Time is precious because it's fragile. You don't notice how much it means until it's slipping through your fingers. The value of time is not just in how much you have, but how you spend it. Some people live 80 years and barely touch life because they never step outside their comfort zone. They never pursue their passions. They never take risks. Others live 40 years and fill them with love, adventure, growth, and memories that last a lifetime. It's not about the length of your life. It's about the depth of it. Time is like currency, and every day you get a deposit of 24 hours. How you spend it determines the return you get. If you invest it in things that matter, relationships, purpose, growth, you'll feel rich. If you waste it on negativity, comparison, procrastination, you'll feel bankrupt. One of the greatest mistakes people make is acting like they can afford to waste time. You can't afford to spend months stuck in anger. You can't afford to spend years in relationships that drain you. You can't afford to keep postponing joy for a future that isn't guaranteed. Protect your time like you protect your money because it's worth more. Be intentional with who you give it to because not everyone deserves access to your most valuable asset. Some people don't just waste your time, they drain your energy and you can't get either back. Learn to say no, learn to set boundaries, learn to walk away from anything that doesn't honor your time. The other side of valuing time is learning to be present in it. Too many people are either living in the past or worrying about the future, and in the process, they miss the moment they're actually in. The past is gone, the future isn't here yet. All you really have is today. If you're sitting at the dinner table with your family, but your mind is at work, you're wasting time. If you're outside on a beautiful day, but you're scrolling your phone, you're wasting time. Presence turns ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. Being fully there, soaking it in, appreciating it, that's how you multiply the value of the time you've been given. Time is also the great equalizer. No matter who you are, how rich or poor, how famous or unknown, everybody gets the same 24 hours in a day. What separates people isn't how much time they have, it's how they use it. Some use it to build, some use it to destroy. Some use it to grow, some use it to stagnate. You don't control the number of days you get, but you do control what you put inside them. And the choices you make daily add up to the story of your life. If you want a meaningful story, you have to spend your time meaningfully. When you think about time differently, you stop sweating the small stuff. You stop letting minor inconveniences ruin your day. You stop wasting weeks being bitter about things you can't change. You realize that time is too short to carry grudges, too short to live in fear, too short to keep putting off forgiveness, too short to keep silencing your dreams. Suddenly, you start prioritizing peace over drama, love over pride, joy over worry. You start living lighter because you know how heavy wasted time feels. Another thing about time is how it teaches you to cherish people. You don't always know how much time you'll have with someone, and that's why you've got to love them out loud while you can. Hug them, call them, spend time with them. Tell them what they mean to you, because one day time will separate you and the only thing left will be the memories you created. Don't let work, distractions, or pride rob you of moments you wish you had back. Nobody on their deathbed says, I wish I spent more time at the office. They say, I wish I had more time with the people I love. Time with people is priceless, and once it's gone, you can't buy it back. The urgency of time doesn't mean you have to rush through life. It means you have to live with intention. Slow down, breathe, take in the moments, but don't waste them. Use them wisely. Every single day is like a page in a book, and you're writing your story with how you spend it. Make it count, because once the page turns, you can't go back and rewrite it. You don't have forever, you have right now, and right now is more valuable than most people realize. Laughter is medicine for the soul. And the reason that phrase has lasted for generations is because it's true. Laughter has a way of healing you in places no pill, no doctor, no therapy session can fully reach. It lightens heavy hearts, it breaks tension, it brings people closer, and it keeps you from drowning in the seriousness of life. You can be in the middle of the hardest season, with bills piling up, stress chasing you, and problems weighing on your mind, but if something makes you laugh, even for a moment, you feel lighter. That's not an accident. That's the power of laughter. It reminds you that even in the middle of pain, joy still exists. It might not solve the problem, but it gives you the strength to deal with it. The truth is, people forget how to laugh as they get older. Kids laugh all the time. They laugh at silly faces. They laugh at nonsense. They laugh at life because they haven't been weighed down by responsibility yet. Somewhere along the way, adults start thinking everything has to be serious, that laughing makes you childish, that you should only smile when life is perfect. And because of that, too many grown folks walk around stiff, bitter, and cold. But laughter is not childish. It's necessary. It's what keeps you young. It's what keeps you human. It's what keeps you sane. If you lose your ability to laugh, you lose one of the greatest tools for survival. Laughter connects people in ways nothing else can. You can put two strangers in a room, and if they laugh together, suddenly they're not strangers anymore. Laughter bridges gaps, breaks down walls, and builds bonds. It doesn't matter what race you are, what language you speak, how much money you have. Everybody laughs the same. A good laugh is universal. It's the sound of humanity recognizing itself in each other. Some of the strongest friendships and deepest relationships are built on shared laughter. Those little inside jokes that nobody else understands, but that bring you closer every time they're remembered. Laughter creates memories that last long after the moment has passed. It also has the power to cut through pain like nothing else. Think about funerals, some of the heaviest moments of life. And yet, in the middle of grief, people often tell funny stories about the person they lost. They laugh through tears, remembering something silly, something joyful, something that captured their loved one's spirit. And that laughter doesn't dish out of the pain, it helps carry it. It's a reminder that even in death, life gave you moments worth smiling about. That's why laughter is medicine. It doesn't erase pain, it soothes it, it makes it bearable. It gives you hope when you feel empty. There's also a physical power in laughter. Studies have shown that when you laugh, your body releases chemicals that reduce stress, strengthen your immune system, and even help with pain relief. But you don't need a study to know that. You've felt it yourself. You've had those moments where you laughed so hard your stomach hurt, and afterward you felt lighter, freer, more alive. That's not just emotion, that's biology. Your body was designed to benefit from joy. That's why you crave it. That's why you need it. That's why you can't ignore it. A life without laughter is like a body without oxygen. It can survive for a while, but eventually it breaks down. Too many people, they'll let life steal their laughter. They get so consumed with stress, with chasing money, with trying to prove themselves that they stop smiling altogether. They think being serious makes them stronger, but all it really does is make them weaker because they have no outlet, no release, no lightness. Laughter is not a distraction from life. It's part of living well. You can still be responsible, still work hard, still handle your business, and at the same time, choose to find humor in your day. It doesn't make you less serious. It makes you more balanced. The beauty of laughter is that it doesn't always come from big things. Sometimes it's the small, silly moments that bring the loudest laughs. A funny video, a joke from a friend, a slip of the tongue that turns into a running gag, a memory that still cracks you up years later. These little bursts of joy are like fuel for your spirit. They don't take away the reality of life, but they make the reality easier to handle. That's why people say, laugh to keep from crying, because sometimes laughter really is the only thing keeping you from breaking down completely. You should never underestimate how powerful it is to be the person who brings laughter into the room. People remember how you made them feel, and laughter is one of the best gifts you can give. If you can make someone smile when they're going through something heavy, you've given them a medicine that doesn't cost a dime, but is worth more than gold. That's why comedians, storytellers, and funny friends are so important. They carry a gift that helps heal the world. And you don't have to be a professional comedian to use it. You just have to be willing to lighten the mood, to share a smile, to not take yourself too seriously all the time. Laughter also teaches you not to hold on to things too tightly. Life is unpredictable. Mistakes happen. Embarrassing moments happen. Things fall apart, but if you can learn to laugh at yourself, you take away the power those moments have to control you. Laughing at yourself doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've grown strong enough to not let shame or pride hold you down. It means you understand that life is messy, and instead of getting bitter about it, you find the humor in it. That perspective is freeing because it allows you to move forward lighter instead of dragging heaviness behind you. At the end of the day, laughter is more than just entertainment. It's survival. It's resilience. It's how you show life that no matter what it throws your way, you still have light inside of you. It's how you stay human in a world that constantly tries to harden you. It's how you hold on to joy when everything around you is trying to steal it. And the best part is, laughter doesn't cost anything. It doesn't require permission. It's available to you every single day if you decide to open your heart to it.